Hello, ladies, and welcome to the sexy side of menopause. I'm Beverly with Beverly Hills Health and Wellness Coaching, and I am here for another episode talking to a amazing woman who I have grown to love. She is absolutely killing it in her space. I want her to introduce herself to you, and thank you so much, Sheryl, for being here, girl. You know, I love you.
Listen, we love you, Beverly, because we really appreciate you creating this podcast and this safe space for us to, just as women to have these types of conversations. And I know our conversation is going to go in a lot of different places, so we're just going to keep it fluid and keep it flowing. So, but just to introduce myself, I am Sheryl Brinkley. I am the founder and CEO of ITM Coaching Next Level. I'm an executive leadership and career coach, and I work with emerging mid-career and high potential leaders in their development as a people leader, and also to help them with their confidence and dealing with this imposter and getting all that stuff out of the way. And most importantly, double clicking on this strategic mindset. And I have a particular passion for working with mid-career women in their ascension into the E and the C-suite. So if that's their desire to ascend to those levels, we're here to help them prepare and be equipped to play the game and keep their head in the game while they're doing it. And it's all about thriving, right? We don't want people like getting
Absolutely.
to these levels and just trying to survive it. We want them to thrive. And as you know, our world is changing right now.
Yes.
And we've got lots of things happening and brewing in the organizational space. And I think that women more than ever are going to need that kind of support because we don't want to shrink from this moment. We don't want to disappear. Okay. We want to see how we can continue to pivot and move along with these changes and not feel like thrown off balance by it, right? Really have their mindsets intact where they can feel like they can navigate and do so strategically. So I'm all about that.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. Ladies, Cheryl's background is so amazing. And the reason I wanted to bring you in this conversation is because as a woman who has navigated the major aspects of the menopause journey, but menopause is a journey that goes on for like 3/4 of our lives. Like you don't actually get to the end and it's done. Like we exit out with it, but the symptoms or challenges that you deal with are really in a small window and you can move on beyond that. And in your space, you're a professional woman working with other women who are looking to get to the next level in the organizations. Can you talk about your journey as a woman who has worked alongside, I'm sure, a lot of men, because my environment has been pretty much dominated by men who don't look like me, don't really understand the dynamics of a woman of color, in addition to the fact women are going through these changes of their life as they're dealing with the growth into their career. So can you speak about that a little bit, like what your experience has been navigating this and maybe some things that you've had conversations with your women to navigate this journey?
So I'm chuckling a little bit because I really didn't talk a lot about some of this stuff. And that's why I really like your platform because it really, I don't know, it's something about this season that women are feeling free enough to talk about it. Oprah's been talking about it. Halle Berry's been talking about it. We're starting to see women talk about this.
Yes.
But I would say like for 90% of my career, I've worked in male spaces.
Mhm.
I worked in operations with Pepsi Cola. I've worked at JP
Mhm.
Morgan Chase in technology and in
Mhm.
the investment banking world. And I've worked in utility spaces.
Mhm.
And so not only being a woman of color, being one of the only, but
Yes.
being a woman as the
Yes.
only as well.
Yes.
And having to lead and having to be, lead men,
Yes.
not necessarily wanted to be led by a woman. So hey, it's like it's all of that. So um I feel like I guess the way that I just came to this world with such a individualistic um kind of spirit. My mother really enabled me to lean into my individualism, right? And so I remember her telling me a story. Well, it was my lived experience when I was going to kindergarten.
Mhm.
And my school was just down the street a few blocks.
Mhm.
Now, this is a different time of life, okay? Our world is way different. We would never let a 5-year-old walk to school by themselves. So let me just caveat that. But I'm just sharing this to let you kind of in on kind of, you know, who I am and how I've been.
Mhm.
And my mother, was she had my younger brother on her hip and was walking me to school um down the street. And at some point I said I can do it myself, and my mother enabled me to do that. She allowed me to walk to school by myself, not knowing that she was trailing me though, because I always look forward. I don't look behind me. I don't be
I
looking
vibe
around.
with that.
I'm
Yes.
like, my focus is this way. And so from my earliest remembrances, my mother really, was like the wind beneath my wings and allowed me to um really rest in who I was,
Yeah.
and didn't try to dim me. Now, I had a two-parent home, right? I come from a
Mhm.
two-parent
Yeah.
household. My
Yeah.
dad is Navy military, and so there's a certain way to kind of march, right? And so
Right.
um, so I feel like, plus, growing up in a Christian home,
Mhm.
I feel like there were things that were part of my context that enabled me to um just be anchored and centered in a different kind of way. Now, that I'm not saying all that to say that I did not have challenges,
Right.
because we all do.
Mhm.
But I feel so blessed to have grown up in an era where Dr. Martin Luther King was a prominent kind of voice in our spaces. Black Panther movement with, really feeling a sense of pride about who we are. All of these things are part of my context. I grew up in Oakland. I am from the San Francisco Bay Area, lived here my whole life. And there's just a certain level of I guess, assurance and confidence in who I am as a person.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And so, moving into these other spaces where when I got into college, being one of the only people as a business major, as maybe a person of color, and
Mhm.
maybe a woman in the class. In some cases, I got socialized pretty quickly
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
being an only,
Mhm. Mhm.
and standing my ground with being who I am
Right.
and showing up as myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
So in working in male dominated spaces, I just carry that same kind of energy,
Mhm.
just being me.
Mhm.
I don't walk around saying I'm a Black woman. I just am a woman, and I happen to
Exactly.
be Black. Okay.
Yeah.
I move about this world with the sense of who I am, um, and that I'm here to not only bring value to myself, but bring value to other people.
Mhm.
And but it is a different kind of thing, trying to navigate how do you remain being a woman and not being a man. I mean, not trying to be like a man. Okay.
Mhm.
And that was something I was very cognizant of.
Mhm.
Like, I wasn't trying to be one of the boys. Um, when someone's trying to uh cross a different kind of boundary because I'm
Mhm.
a colleague, and it's like, well, let me shoot my shot. It's like, well, no, I'm your colleague. I'm not here to, I'm not here for that. If you're thinking that I might be that kind of girl, I'm not. I'm here to get
Right.
the job done.
Mhm.
And I want to be respected, and I command respect.
Mhm.
And I'm not afraid to have the conversation if I need to have it, to really make sure that we're on the same page about what this is and what it isn't.
Mhm.
And let's just be cool, right? And so
Yeah.
um yeah, I feel like that's how I've just carried myself.
Mhm.
And um so I guess I was gifted with a level of confidence,
Mhm.
and just anchoring in my upbringing and my
Mhm.
experiences that
Mhm.
has served me
Yeah.
in all of these spaces where I've worked in
Mhm.
environments. And you know, um, And that's just how I've rolled. I guess I'll say it that way.
Well, I'm hearing the keyword confidence. That seems to be foundational. And I feel when I look at my journey, my parents had some impact on it, but a lot of things I had to figure out on my own. But I really resonate with this fact that you came from a two-parent household. I did too. My dad was a minister, so we had that straight and narrow. My dad had some military history, but didn't serve very long. But we did have that on top of being a minister. As a person that's a baby boomer, the days and time, you know, we were just quiet. We just were taught to take the instructions and follow.
Yeah.
So I had that within me. But another aspect for me was I grew up in the time when there was a lot of desegregation going on. And my parents decided that they didn't want me to be involved in that, you know. So I ended up doing a lot of things in isolation.
Okay.
But I'm also the firstborn, and there's like a leadership quality to being that firstborn, I think, and having parents who give you that confidence and having to find your way in the world. That I feel like all of that has served me. 20 years traveling around as a military spouse, you're starting over constantly. So when I think about my menopause journey, it's like, oh, I get to define this. Nobody gets to decide this for me. I'll figure it out.
Right, right,
Just
right.
like I've navigated my career, just like I've navigated being in business. It's something that's so intuitive for me. And I think it's based on that confidence that you're talking about.
It's such an important piece. Now, I will tell you part of my story. I mean, growing up, initially, like until it was about the seventh grade, I grew up, like I said, I grew up in Oakland, which is quite homogenous at that time. There are a few pockets of different, ethnicities there, but my school and elementary education was all African American, right? And so around the seventh grade, my family moved to a suburb, south of Oakland, and now I'm in a multicultural paradigm, and I had a moment when I started eighth grade of trying to recalibrate because now I'm in the space of all these different types of people I had not encountered before. And it was rough initially trying to find friends and find your tribe and navigate that. But I'm grateful for those experiences because, again, Dr. Martin Luther King's words come back to me where we really get to know people because of the content of their character, not about what they look like. And
Yeah.
I can appreciate all of who they are in their ethnic, of who ethnicity of who they are, and also who they are at their heart and their core. And I believe I'm very appreciative of having that experience early on in life. Beverly, I know that you can identify because you've been all over the world as a
Yes.
military spouse, but being able to assimilate and also find ways to relate and connect to people
Yes.
on a human level.
Yes.
And that's what we're here, right? We are all humans in a human experience. And how do we help one another bridge that gap and find the things that are common to us that we all connect with? And that's the level I choose to operate on. And that's how I move through the world. And when I meet new people, we can instantly kind of connect on something.
Yes.
That's one of my superpowers too, as is one of my Clifton strengths are a relator. I can really relate and connect with people very quickly. And I feel like that's a common ground of just level setting humanity. And it's needed more than ever, even as even as we're having this conversation today.
So true. And I also resonate with the fact that you're saying that we just meet people where they are and connect. And that's the way I see life. I'm multicultural, multi-generational. I'm just like, I am here to learn.
Yes.
I really want to absorb, and I don't want to be taught in a textbook format. I think that that's a narrative that
Mhm.
is pushed on you. And that's one
Mhm.
person's perspective. But
Mhm.
there are myriad of ways of seeing something. And it's not until you travel to me that you get to see that.
Right.
I was used to driving on the right side of the road and ended up in Japan, and I had to learn to drive on the left side of the road. And you're like, how insane is that? And it's just like,
Yeah,
well, it worked. So there's different ways of looking at things. So when I look about this menopause journey, it's like, how do you want to look at it? It's a decision to me.
I agree.
Have some health problems, let's work out the health problems, but let's make the decision as an individual of how I want to navigate it. Get in the community of the right people, have conversations to find out like how different people are moving through this time.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at Sheryl, like she is killing it in her space. And that's why I wanted you here, because sometimes women have to see examples to know like, wow, if she did it, I can do it. How is she doing it? I need to be at her space learning from her. So thank you for being here and sharing what
Yeah.
your life experience has been like and how you're utilizing it on this menopause journey to be the best
Mhm.
version of yourself as a businesswoman, helping other business women.
Yeah, life is filled with all kinds of ups and downs, and God has blessed me to see my fifth decade, and I don't take that
Looking good, looking good.
lightly at all. And listen, I was going to grad school. I was married at the time, going through infertility, um, and when it didn't happen the way that we wanted to really, have a baby,
Mhm.
our marriage got into a rocky space and ended up by the time, well, not long after I finished my graduate education, our marriage was ending, and so I've been through this season of being a divorced woman and trying to date in this market today, online, offline, or whatever, and all these experiences, in addition to, you know, um, the work life. And so
Mhm.
but I will say that this menopause journey is a real one, because when I
Mhm.
was going through perimenopause, it was a little rough, and experiencing some changes with my own experience.
Yeah.
Insomnia was a big one. I didn't know where that came from. I'm a good sleeper. I love my sleep, and insomnia showed up, and I don't know what was going on with me. Night sweats. I don't know what that was about. But now that we fully on the other side of it, it's like, ooh, ciao. I'm just like embracing this season of
Yes.
I borrow from Michelle Obama's book title of Becoming. I really feel like I'm
Yes.
still
I love that.
I'm on this journey of still growing, still discovering who I am,
Mhm.
embracing living a more holistic kind of a
Yeah.
lifestyle, um, just feeling more empowered to release the expectations that other people may have of me, and really leaning into what serves me, right? And making intentional choices about um, I want addition math in my life, not subtraction. So
I love that.
if something's depleting me at work or
Gotta go.
whatever it is, people, whatever the circumstances, I can make a choice and decision
Yeah.
about, well, what is it that I want? Listening to my intuition and saying, well, this isn't
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
feeling good to me. And I need to shift. I need to move. I need to pivot, or in the relationship, say goodbye, or whatever this is, in order to protect my peace, because peace
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
so critical for
Yes.
me. I mean, it's not overrated. I'm all about peace, and I don't want oil in my water.
I love that, Sheryl. It's really interesting as you were talking. I said, here's the sexy side of menopause. It's starting to surface. You were shaking your
Oh,
shoulders and
now
you was
I'm like,
leaning.
this is a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe.
It's a vibe. I
And,
love it. It's so true.
and that's what you're trying to tell women with this podcast.
Yes.
It's a whole vibe. It's liberating.
Truly part of my presentation that I'm doing in Paris, that is part of it. It is liberating. And it's really hard to sometimes understand it until you get into community, because
Yeah.
all you can see is what's happening to you today and you think this is the rest of my life. And no, it's like the butterfly, it's like the caterpillar
Oh,
going through the
yeah.
cocooning process and coming out and being the butterfly. There's a metamorphosis that's taking place, and it's hurting and painful and challenging
Yeah.
while you're in that cocoon. But believe me, listen to Sheryl, listen to me. I'm telling you, I'm living my best
Ready
life.
to fly, girl. Be ready to fly. Yes.
So true.
And so it's an evolutionary journey. We continue to evolve, we continue to grow, and you discover who we are.
Mhm.
And as we grow through our 20s and our 30s and our 40s, and as I speak back to women who I call my younger selves, you know, you're my younger self, and so this is I'm pouring some wisdom into you, and so I can bring this wisdom forward. And to your point about working a job and really embracing the fact that that's just one aspect of who you are.
Right.
Don't give it all to the job. And I'm guilty of living a workaholic experience all of my life. And we really want to help women to embrace the fact that there's more to your life
Yes.
and more to who you
Yes.
are
Yes.
than the grind of the job. And I
Mhm.
feel like when we are able to be more of who we are and live more life outside of the
Mhm.
four walls of the job, if you will,
Yeah.
then I think that that also fills your cup of confidence too.
Oh,
Really
yes.
get to
Yes.
get in touch with who you are. And so
Mhm.
my thing is to really help women get regrounded with who they are at their essence self, trusting that instinctual voice that they have. What
Mhm.
does their heart say about it? And not let their head kind of talk them,
Mhm.
out of really listening to that wisdom that they have.
Mhm.
And but yeah, it's a new season, and
Mhm.
I I'm grateful for it. Now, I don't want to discount the fact that some women have challenges in this
Mhm.
journey with this
Mhm.
menopause too,
Mhm. Correct.
but every woman has a different journey. But we
Exactly.
have to talk about
Mhm.
this and share our experiences so that
Mhm.
way women can say, I can choose to get support if I feel like I
Right.
need that. Is
Right.
it hormones? Is it something else that might be more holistic? Beverly, I know that you're in that space
Exactly.
of not having to be on any drugs if you don't have to be. I don't want to be on drugs if I can avoid it. Now I know
Mhm.
that sometimes we need
Right.
support. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
we're not throwing any shade at anybody who
Right.
might need support to
Mhm.
give them the balance that they need, okay?
Exactly.
So that they can
Exactly.
show up in life for themselves and in their workspaces, feeling whole, balanced,
Mhm.
centered,
Mhm.
and head in the game so that they can play the game.
Right, right. And I imagine it's really important in the position that you support women, understanding the menopause journey and being able to identify and support women as they're going up this corporate ladder, if that's their choice in getting to this next level. If you're not aware of what's going on with you, you might feel like, oh my gosh, I need to quit my job. Something's happening and I can't go on. If you're a woman that has navigated this season, you can support another woman by giving her some insight. And it's very true. There are several ways to navigate this journey. I'm a holistic person. I'm a person that works with clients going through their menopause in a natural, holistic way. However, you should always go to your doctor, find out some type of insight into what menopause is. The problem sometimes is the doctors are not aware enough about what menopause is at its perimenopausal stage. So that's a challenge. So do your homework, be in community with others, find out what's happening in your body. And there's something that you mentioned earlier is about the intuition. I have found that my intuition has been spot on for many years. And it's like I've always been aware of it because I spent time around my great grandmother. So I learned to listen to that voice. But
Yeah.
now it's so strong. I know when something doesn't serve me and it's got to go. I know when this is for me and I'm leaning in. I
Yes.
know the sexy side of menopause is missing from the conversation.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Really. Really.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And trusting that voice, and trusting that voice.
Mhm.
As women in this world, let me just say, w- we are living in a man's world, But as James Brown said, it wouldn't be nothing without a woman and a girl. So I'm just going to drop that in here. Now, James said it. Now we have to embrace it. We
Yes.
have to really feel like we have value in all the spaces that we are in.
Right.
But
Yes.
we have to find a way to do it that is authentic to us.
True.
Right? We're not going to beat a man playing a man's game like a man. They're very clear. They see a woman, they know a woman when they see one. Now, they're not confused about who they are and what we are to them. Okay.
Right.
Sometimes we feel as though we have to be something we're not and be
Exactly.
more, masculine. And I know that I've embodied some of that myself just because of the energy when you're the only woman in
Right.
a space filled with a lot of testosterone.
Yes. Yes.
You kind of get a little bit of that hardness.
Yes.
And I will tell you that men react to that. And it doesn't, it's kind of like,
Yes.
this.
Yes.
And I had to learn that I had to come at things a little bit differently if I wanted to really be heard or get their attention,
Right.
things of that nature. And sometimes it was waiting and talking to them one-on-one in private to let them know, like, hey, this isn't working. But it's even in how you speak.
Yeah.
You can speak in a way that they can really, really receive it. But if we're coming at them with that same kind of energy, well, they feel like they have to amp up
Yes.
the testosterone on their end because they're
It's
the
like a
man.
red flag being thrown. It's war.
Right, exactly. So it's like, so we have to kind of be who we are created to be. We are feminine, and yes, we can flex and we can embody what we need to embody to present ourselves in a way that is received, but that's also called reading the room.
Exactly. Yes.
And also reading the person that we're in front of. How can I get through to this individual? How can I be heard? Male or female? Okay.
Right. Right.
So so that's something that that comes with being an observer and just really trying to find a way to relate and connect with people, male or female.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yes. Yes. Again, that goes back to the intuition. Like you need to be able to tap into that. You mentioned something that was really important. I think about being in spaces with men where I've worked, traveling around as a military spouse. This is under the umbrella of the Department of Defense. So
okay.
I'm constantly in the room with people of power and authority and rank. So I get the fire, the full on fire. Like, don't get it confused who you think I am. Look at what I'm wearing, So you have to be able to respect that. And I have so much respect and gratitude for our military members.
Yes.
Being in that space as a spouse, being a mother of sons who have been in the military, I have so much respect and gratitude for that. But I also understand that type of energy, if I bring it, it's gonna be on. So as a woman, especially now as I'm going through this menopause journey on the other end, I've learned to soften.
Yes.
I've found ways to lean into my feminine, but still be as powerful, still be as impactful, and also to be in service. And
Yes.
it's going back to that intuition.
Yes.
The sexy side of menopause, ladies, we have the ability to navigate all over, but you have to be able to soften a little bit and listen to the journey that's calling you forward. I've been in these rooms and I really have had to work really hard and be very aggressive at times. But some things are for a season. And right now, as we're navigating this menopause journey, especially when you get into the area where you're dealing with the symptoms, your body is talking to you. Your body is asking for something different.
Yes. And being centered is the thing, right? With it. And so sometimes the changes that we're experiencing physically and mentally, because it's both, right? It's the body and it's also what's happening in the mind at the same time. And so really getting into practices that enable you to get back into your body
Yes.
will allow you to listen from a different place.
Yes.
Being able to breathe, right? Allows you
Ooh.
to give the body the oxygen that it needs in order to really listen. And that listening starts with what's going on the inside of you.
Mhm,
If we're
mhm,
not listening to what's going on the inside of
mhm,
us,
mhm,
um, which is the first frontier, we
mhm,
really can't, because I believe in there's a vibration of energy that we can share and exchange with other
mhm.
people.
Yes.
But if we're kind of, off kilter, then we can't always read situations the way that we need to, or
Mhm.
being able to be more observant because
Yeah.
something is not in the body, is not in alignment.
Yeah.
And so that's why, this conversation is important, because it's really about tapping back into listening to
Yes.
self,
Yeah.
prioritizing
Yeah. Yeah.
ourselves and putting ourselves on a list, and giving ourselves that
Mhm,
space to have downtime and self-care and nurturing for ourselves,
mhm, mhm,
making space for that. I know I
mhm.
was on a whole like fast track running on 100 all the time. We will burn our own selves out because we're not listening to, what our bodies are asking us to do. Slow down
Yes.
and pause and recalibrate,
Mhm.
and maybe take something off the calendar so that you can make space for yourself to do that, because you will hit a wall, you will
Mhm.
burn out.
Yes.
And when you're depleted because of the run, um well, now you really can't show up the best way that you would like to show up,
Mhm.
and be received, and really having the ability to have your full self and confidence intact.
Yes. Cheryl, that's a mic drop. We can end it here. The way you pulled all that together is absolutely what I really try to work with women to help them to understand this journey. You've been giving and pushing and just doing so much. And I worked in the DC metro area, and my portfolio was in Africa. So I was working a lot and flying a lot.
Mhm.
But as we navigate this journey, our bodies is changing and it's
Yeah,
asking for something different. And
yeah.
self-care is where, if you've been putting out and putting out and putting out, that's that testosterone energy. We
Mhm,
need to start
mhm,
bringing
mhm.
things in to care for ourselves. So you are absolutely right. 100%. Ladies, you need to rewind that and take notes on that, because what Cheryl is mentioning is exactly what I do when I'm working with my clients on the menopause journey. So I am so enjoying this conversation. I tell you, it's always amazing to me where the time just like disappears. Like, where does
Oh,
it go?
yeah, we have to fill our cups up first, oxygen mask on first, so that we can serve others. And so that's kind of my gift that I feel like this part of the journey and life season has given me.
Mhm.
And I'm simply just, being a person that can create that space for other women to really lean into that, and then I'll help them to get to their aspirational vision of whatever that is in their career. So,
Yes, yeah. This is a time of reinvention. You know, if you've been doing something for a long time and you hit this journey and your body is asking for something different, your mind is like racing about things like that's not going to allow you to sleep. What
yeah.
can we do? How can we pivot? What is our body asking for? And I know for me, one of the things that changed for me, I've been pretty conscientious about how I eat and exercising and moving, but I really found that I had to shift into a different area of my life because I was feeling burnt out.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm a person that's like the Energizer Bunny, go, 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 go. And I could possibly still be doing that, but my body was asking for something different. So I had to make the shift. I had to sit down, be quiet, and listen to what my body asked. I was a runner. I would run like 10 miles.
Mm.
Baby, I haven't ran in I don't know how many years. it's not something that serves me. For those who can, great. My knees are fine. I was hearing people that were my age talking about knee replacement. I'm like, oh, no, no, no,
Wait
I'm
a
not
minute.
doing that. So
Wait a minute.
run and go. So I love my walking. I can walk for
Yeah.
hours. And there's other things like that that I've done, and my body has responded. I sleep relatively well, I have to admit. As an entrepreneur, it's not an 8 to 5 business. Like you work all the
It is
time,
not.
but it's fulfilling to me. It's in service. It's a
Mhm.
legacy for me to
Mhm.
leave for those who are on the menopause journey and kind of lost and don't know where to turn. I have lots of information for you. I have lots of women who are examples for you on the sexy side of menopause. So Sheryl, I'm going to throw it back to you. Thank you for being here and sharing so much amazing information about your journey, about what it's like to be a powerful woman in these spaces with these men. Please let the women know how they can reach you, how you can be contacted through your different platforms. And I am so encouraging you to reach out to this woman is amazing. I absolutely love her.
Thank you so much for having me. Listen, what's next for me? I have a book in development right now, and I'm looking forward to birthing that this year. I also have my Ignite and Ascend Women's Leadership Circle experience. That is a small group cohort experience for mid-career and high potential women to have a safe space where they can really work through this confidence. Let's let go of this imposter, really lean into this mental fitness and strategic mindset and growing in that executive presence. So that is something that I offer. And so if you're interested in hearing more about that, definitely reach out. And listen, I support organizations too. So I'm all about helping in that space of leadership development, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and also workshops that are needed if that's the case. And so I invite anyone who's interested in hearing more about how I can support you as an individual or in your organization at itmcoachingnextlevel.com. And it would be my absolute pleasure to speak with you more about what your needs are.
That is awesome, ladies. I encourage you to check her out. And for those who are on the menopause journey, again, I'm Beverly with Beverly Hills Health and Wellness Coaching. I'm a certified health coach, and I help women to break through the stigma of menopause and lean into a positive, confident, and sexy new vision of themselves through a holistic journey. And we're going to be doing that on the sexy side of menopause. So thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye, ladies. Thanks, Sheryl.
You.